And there we go, just like that. I've got to find out where we are exactly going live, and Jan will fill us in with that. But good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Wealth Wellness Wednesday. This is Carol Sue, aka Naughty Boss Lady Canna, live with Two
Sisters. And hey, good morning, everyone. My name is Janice, aka Wellness Diva, and we are broadcasting this live on the Two Sisters Facebook page. And as usual, when I start to talk, I start coughing and I don't have my water available to me. So I'm just going to mute myself momentarily and pass it over to Carol Sue. And you're going to see me, if you're watching this on YouTube or on our Facebook page, I'm just going to run away real quickly. Hold on a second.
That's all right. You go wet your and get to that hydration in at the same time that you are taking care of that dry throat. A lot of us have that, especially when you talk a lot. And of course, Two Sisters does. So checking in, seeing how everyone is doing. A lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff rumbling, a lot of stuff, just that vibe that's going on right now. And I started to kind of, absorb. I did a lot of podcasts yesterday, really started to see things from a different perspective, but also reaffirming my posture and how I believe. A lot of people will ask me, and they're messaging me now, like, what are you feeling? What do you think is going on? What is going to happen with our country? How are you dealing with this? I know you're playing pickleball. Are you, just kind of hitting that boring ball? And yeah, I'm slamming that ball. I'm really getting better at my serve, because I'm visualizing certain people on the ball. Funny what motivation does for you. However, once I got up this morning and found out that YouTube has now censored President Trump, and yes, he's still the president of the United States, even though today, sadly, we're going to see some Judases in Congress. That's just going to be happening. I really started to think about it. And when you look back to the very beginning, really the first 19 minutes of him being the president, and I can't remember the news source, whether it was New York Times, Post, I'm not really sure which stated, let the impeachment begin. And here we are, really almost to the day, 4 years to the day of when he was, for his inauguration and for him becoming officially the president of the United States, that the same mindset, the same tone, the same message that is traded our health and wellness, because I really think that what has been done to the American people is a crisis in many sense. Yes, it's a constitutional crisis of what they're trying to do. It's also a health crisis, because what they've been drilling and pandering and brainwashing into people's brains for the last years started 19 minutes into his presidency, and it hasn't stopped. They started with it, and now they're ending with that. And when I thought about the kind of steroid messaging, the steroid almost fear they're instilling really in the last 2 weeks, the censorship, which I've been censored now 3 times, the constant, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, but we're really doing this, but do as I say, but not as I do. It's really been on steroids now for the last 2 weeks, overdrive. And why is that? So I really started to kind of digest kind of where we are. And then of course today, listening about that YouTube has now censored him. I thought to myself, if this man is obviously he has been really hammering people for the last 4 years. And I'm wondering if what he's been doing has frightened them in such a way that why, when you think about it, why would any group, political group, business group, CEOs, why would they go to this amount of length to portray him in which is really the opposite?
Oop, looks like we froze up a little bit. Let's see if this gets back on track here. Carol Sue, can you hear me? It looks like we are a little bit frozen on Carol Sue's end, and we'll just wait for things to get rebooted. Wealth Wednesday, or Wealth Wellness Wednesday, that's a mindful. And we were just getting into, Carol Sue was just getting into chatting about what's happening, excuse me, obviously in the world today, and YouTube now censoring.
I can hear you. Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, well, that was kind of a weird, hold on, I'm just gonna readjust my phone for a second because I could not obviously get on my computer. So let me just, there we go. We're back.
Okay.
There we go. Funny, and I actually screenshot what was going on, so we can keep that in our arsenal. I don't even think that's a word you can say anymore, arsenal. But anywho, yeah, all of a sudden it said the internet wasn't available, as I was probably saying things that maybe the internet didn't like hearing me as a United States citizen say. But again, I'm going to pose the question because it does intertwine with our health and wellness. What are they so afraid of that they are hammering? And because of their hammering, their constant message that is one of destruction and, you know, really pushing the fear factor into people. And it makes you kind of wonder, what are they so afraid of? Because why would you go to this length to deceive Americans? What do you think?
Well, yes, I hear what you're saying. And we've said this numerous times that everybody feels the weight of what is certainly happening. Why is it that censorship is such a hot topic? Why? I mean, does somebody have something to hide that they don't want the American people to know? And a couple of words and phrases came up, and I'm just going to shoot them out here. And it kind of goes before we, now let me just back up a little bit. When we get on live, you know, we obviously have certain theme days, but we never know where the conversation is going to take us. And I wrote this stuff down before Carol Sue and I got on Zoom here. So the first phrase is elimination diet. Who's Zooming who? And communication flow, persistency, dedication, excitement, and flow. So I think all of those kind of tie into how this conversation first started with what is happening, the further censorship of President Trump, who, yes, is still our president, the Dems. And, you know, again, I have a lot of friends that are Democrats, and I want my friends who are Democrats to know I am not singling you out or anything like that. I'm talking about the people in power, okay? I think we need to eliminate the destruction of what is happening in America today. And how do we go about doing that? Now, when President Trump was elected back 4 years ago on his inauguration day, and as Carol said, almost 4 years ago to the day, interesting that he disrupted their communication flow. And 19 minutes into his presidency, I did see that article. I forgot where I saw it. So we all know that President Trump is not a career politician. He is a businessman. And interesting that now, love him or hate him, and I think I've had periods of times where I've loved him, but I mostly do love him because of his love for the American people. I think he's, in a way, the Democrats see it, and this is just my perception, that he's stepped on a lot of corrupt toes. I'll just say that. That's
exactly. And I think, but you know, a lot of people talk about the corruption piece to it. But when you think about it, I had this conversation yesterday morning with a group of people, and and since you touched upon, the corruption toes, think about this. And I really want people to really think about this from a perspective, really out of your comfort zone, but try to imagine this. If a politician or any person, CEO, conglomerate, corporation, if they conduct their business or their person, themselves, in a corrupt manner, whether taking bribes, whether bending rules, whether having special interest groups bribe them and wine and dine them, whether you even cheat on your spouse, because all those things go on deeply in DC, but they go clear across the world. Those are things that I truly believe, okay, you can get a slap on the wrist, maybe your spouse is going to get pissed off, maybe you end up in divorce, maybe it takes a while to rebuild your reputation again, but those things are repairable. Those things are repairable. What isn't repairable is something that our president has taken on for the last 4 years that a lot of people have missed, the missing link, and that is human and child sex trafficking. He has taken down so many sex trafficking rings and, the mission of Save the Children. So what does that have in common with what is going on in DC? And someone asked me that, and I said, well, I don't think it's truly about obviously a big piece of it is about the corruption, because the corruption is, beyond anything any of us could even really dream that somebody would do. And I'll give you a little hint. When they did the last stimulus package, the amount, these billions and billions that they were sending over to Pakistan, and then now we have the information about GE from yesterday. So think about that. What is one of the things that corruption includes? It includes money laundering. But even with all of that, those things you still can survive from, believe it or not. You can still rebuild your reputation. Maybe you take a bad hit, you take years of hits, but you can recover. The one thing you cannot recover from, though, the one thing you could probably, most people would have a hard time forgiving, is any kind of damage that you've done. And I'm not going to get explicit. Anything that you have done in connection with children, sex trafficking, and the likes of what that all includes. I'm not going to get into detail. That is one thing that I think would make you run scared, that would make you want to, oh my God, I don't want the world to know what I've done. I don't want my spouse to know what I've done. I don't want my children to know what I've done with children. That is the one thing, and I've said it all along. And one of the reasons that I specifically stated, and it's very publicly known, my first reason that I would never even consider Biden is because I truly believe he's got disturbing behavior for children. Now, I'm not saying he's done some of these other horrible things, horrific things. I don't know. But what I do know is he does have disturbing behavior. It's documented everywhere. And I think when push comes to shove, I truly believe that is a very important piece to what is going on that many people just have not connected the dots with. Because to me, why would so many in the limelight fight him so hard, knowing that he is trying to help children and save from this underground, disgusting world? And I think that's the missing piece. I don't know what your thoughts are about that.
Even when I talk about it, even when I hear about it, I just get sick. I don't even know how to describe it other than how you have paraphrased it. And to hurt a child in that manner, I could say a few words right now, and they wouldn't be too nice. They just wouldn't be too nice. But what I will say is these children are our future. What kind of a world will our children grow up in? My son, is in his 30s now. I don't know that I will ever be a grandparent, but I live vicariously. I would say that I'm a step grandparent for
Yes, you are.
Jetty and Ray Ray. And whenever anything's going on in the world, I really think of Jed and Ray Ray and what is happening in the world today and how that's going to shape their future. And I think that's normal for any parent, grandparent, great auntie, whatever. I think that's normal. So for me right now, it's a very scary process to think about that for them. You know, we live in a world where everything is instantaneous. You can get, you know, we're broadcasting, God, you know, all over the place. You know, we're considering on doing our own radio channel at some point. You know, think about that for a moment. You hit, okay, we're going back to the keyboard, right? You hit the keyboard and you're instantly all over the place. So information is fast and forthcoming at such a rapid rate. It's hard to disseminate. So here I am, 58 years old. I'll be 59 in May. I'm finding it hard to disseminate. I'm finding it hard to really think about the ugliness that is out there and how in the world, and now obviously we know there's good and there's evil, and there's a lot of evil right now. How in the world, what is the mind of a sick, perverted person, no matter who they are, to do such harm to a child? I just can't even fathom that. It makes me absolutely sick. But
it does, and the piece is that who would think in 2021 that there would be these kind of, and I hate to use the word cult, but these groups or these associations, because you're almost thinking biblical terms. You know, we do know that there's a lot of, and a lot of people call them conspiracy theorists. A lot of people say that, oh, what's your next conspiracy, Carol Sue? And I think the word conspiracy is really misused, because I truly believe, and I hate to say it's one of the things I'm trying to work on.
Me too.
What I truly believe is happening is people are deciding to use their God-given brain and are becoming critical thinkers. And do I listen to some things? And I do. I have to filter some things that I think are a little cray-cray out there that I just cannot. I mean, there's a lot of people that JFK Jr., they believe JFK Jr. is alive, and I do not. You know, I don't. I mean, that would be a miracle if it wasn't true. So I do filter things out to, you know, for common sense reasons. But if we're not open-minded and we critically think over something, you know, put it down on paper, and how does it fan out? Who are the players? What are the events? What transpires? Who are they connected to? That is just showing that we're using our God-given talent, our brain, for good use to say, you know what, I'm not going to rush to judgment. I'm going to be open to hearing everything, as weird as some of the things might sound. And part of that is digesting some horrible things, because as human beings, we're not born into this world with this cruel, evil heart. That's developed over time. You're, you know, children are born pure with a wholesome heart with no sin, other than the original sin if you're a Christian. And that's why we have a baptism. However, depending on their environment, depending on who they're connected with, and depending on who brings them up, really has an effect on how that person's going to be as they grow up. Now, some, you know, the old fashioned saying, if you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth, that is a typical comment to make of somebody that comes from wealth and is born in the luxury of all that wealth can bring. Now we talk about wealth with Wealth Wednesday, because in order for you to, especially for an entrepreneur to have that good spirit, that good vibe, we truly believe that you put it out in the universe and you put out good things. But at the same time, you've got to be open-minded to the ugliness of money and make sure that you don't fall into that trap. And it's work. Don't get dangled by, I'm going to use my diamond, which is not really a diamond, it's a paperweight, but I love it. It's the shape of a diamond. It's glass, very heavy. But don't get, for those of our viewers that can't see, I'm actually holding, it's a diamond shape glass crystal paperweight. And I use this a lot of time. Symbolism is very huge in our culture. And I use this as just a reminder that you don't get so hung up on the carrots of what money can do, in the sense from a material standpoint, rather who they can help, who you can impact, adding a church ring on, giving to the less fortunate. That is what money, the good things that money can do. So sadly, some get into a power struggle with wealth and leads them into a very dark path. And I think sadly, a lot of DC has entered into that very dark path. And I'm not saying it's just DC, it's all over the world. But in DC, corruption, money leads you to a very dark road. So again, while I stand, steadfast in my belief of why I did not vote for Biden and why I truly do not believe he is officially the legitimate president of the United States, and he'll never be legitimate. Whoops, hold on, lost my thing there. He will never be legitimate because of how I believe the election went. But I do believe that there's this struggle, and it's all biblical. It's good versus evil. I truly believe that's what's going on. And we're kind of in this movie where, where you've got good actors and you've got bad actors, and how will the story go? So when someone asked me yesterday, are you still postured in your belief of who will be in the White House? And I said, absolutely, I am.
So, excuse me, so well said. And, it brings me back to a video that I happened to stumble across yesterday. And I'm sure many of you have seen it. I'm sure many of you have heard about it, about the gentleman from PBS. I think he's the president. I'm not sure.
He was fired.
Oh, he was fired. Okay. See, that's how fast information is coming in that I'm trying to keep up with, where he basically said about the Dems taking over and them coming to get, going after the Trump supporters and their children and taking the children away.
And that is the key piece. A lot of people think they're not being videotaped. That's, we're in a digital world today. Why do you think some people are scrambling? Because they have some laptops that have mysteriously poofed. The problem being is we are in a digital world, and if you're not embracing and having your eyes wide open to the surroundings that that we're currently living in, you're in a bunker. You're in a basement, because truth be told, you don't know when you're going to be recorded. Even though it's illegal, you don't know when it's going to be recorded. Obviously, you're supposed to have permission, but because of the digital world that we live in, people can upload stuff left and right. And shame on him. Shame on him for calling Americans stupid. Shame on him for really trying to spew his hatred towards a certain group that is 80+ million strong. That's not how our forefathers wanted. That's not how we are as a human race. It is okay to have differences of opinion. If we were all the same, we'd be boring. But there's a line that you don't cross, and he severely crossed it, from the things that he talked about with the children, from calling Americans stupid, for paraphrasing different things that we do or say. And that's one thing that you, in this day and age, especially because he brought children into it, that's something that you cannot So he may not be able to recover. And that's the price that you pay when you act like that. There's just a certain line you can't cross. And I think for somehow, some people got so high up in power that they truly believe that they're untouchable. And I believe those are the people that President Trump and others are rocking. They're rocking the boat. A lot of people talk about, oh, you know, he's a businessman. Yeah. And sometimes it takes a businessman's eyesight and mindset and vision and experiences to change things. And he proved that with the economy. He did everything they wanted him to do, or everything that they hate that he did the complete opposite. He did it, and we reap the benefits of it. Of course, they're not going to like that. That disrupts with, you know, their big plan of this one world government and everything else that they're doing. So you have to be mindful. You have to be open. You have to have a great relationship with money. Understand the good that money can do. The more money you make, the more that you can help people. The more money you make, if you have the right mindset to understand that you can have a good relationship with it. If you're using it to do bad, if you're using it for trafficking things, if you're using it for bribery, no, that's, and when you repeatedly do things like that, sometimes it bites you in the ass. And I think that's why all these big enterprises, I guess that would be the word I would use, are, seems to me, I mean, I could be wrong, but it seems to me they're running scared. Why do you want to shut people up so badly? What, you know, what is going to come out that you're so afraid of?
Well,
And I think,
exactly. If you legitimately won, why are you running scared and doing all this stupid shit? And it goes, oh my God, like I can talk on and on and on for probably hours, but you know, what I will say is that it goes back to, if you don't like the channel, turn it.
Yep.
If you hate the United States so much, get the hell out.
Yeah. I mean, wasn't there a bunch of people that said they were going to leave him last time?
Yeah.
They're still here.
Yeah, they're still here, and they're saying hateful, spewing type of rhetoric and things that should be looked at further.
What I would like to close with is take today. I mean, today is a sad day in the United States. We have Judas multiplied by several in Congress. That it's a sad day. I mean, when I go back to the first 19 minutes to when he became president to where we are today, 10 days or whatever, what's today, 13, 7, exactly 1 week, and today's the 13th. And they're still have the same narrative. These 4 years, they must have been really pooping in their pants. And I think there's going to be a lot of diarrhea pants coming out soon.
Plus the run on toilet paper, and the conversation always goes to the toilet.
Absolutely.
On that note, we're going to close it out. As always, thank you so much for joining us. We always love and appreciate your comments, your reach out. And if you do have a different opinion, or if you would like to join us in on the conversation, it's never scripted. Again, we have theme days, but we never go through a script and say, we're going to just talk about this. Obviously, the conversation can sometimes go awry, and toilet paper seems to be coming up a lot lately. On that note, my name is Janice, AKA The Wellness Diva from North Haven, Connecticut, and I am with TwoSistas,
and I am Carol Sue, AKA Naughty Boss and Lady Cannon, coming to you live from kind of a cloudy Vero Beach. The wind is going. I'm actually in a long sleeve, but I'm going to go put some red on. Today I'm feeling red, white, and blue to show my patriotism and to show that the country can heal. We just have to stick together and kind of ride through these bumpy times. Go out, pay it forward, do an act of kindness. It's Wealth Wednesday. And for those of our viewers that know what it is, pay it forward. Give somebody a $1 bill. Pay for someone's coffee. You know how I feel about coffee. But anyways, just do spread some kindness. And you guys have a great Wealth Wednesday. We will see you tomorrow on Trending Thursday. sure there's going to be tons of things trending that we can share. You guys have a great day, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Have a great day.